welcome to Folkland, the podcast about the podcast. I am Jenny Weiss. This is Matt Organ and Chad Anders.
What?
I feel like we should put a cheering track in there.
No, no. This episode of Folkland was recorded before a live studio audience. Please keep your seat backs and tray tables up during takeoff and landing. Wait, that's a different thing.
And this is
why
we have 2-hour-long
under
episodes, because Matt just says random things.
Dumb, stupid stuff. I'm only here to entertain myself.
Anywho.
Oh, God. All right. We've got some comments from our first episode that are super fun. Starting with Shelly. It's not Herbert, is it? It's Bear.
It could be both. I've heard it both.
Do you know her?
No, he doesn't. But I've heard that name both ways. I know a Herbert, and I know a Kevin Herbert spelled this way, and then I know a Michelle Bear also spelled this way.
Like Sherbert?
Yeah.
She said, "This was fun, but maybe a little too long. Anyone with me?" Well, we are with you, Shelly. That's why this is last
episode. Matt, thanks for joining us the past 2 episodes, man.
We'll see.
Yeah. Solve that problem.
And you'll see how long it is. We'll go from there. Next comment.
I think that we should maybe put how do they put the markers in there on YouTube?
The chapters. We will.
We'll titles.
That'll be something.
Yeah, we'll
happens.
Get to that, Jen.
Chad, that's your homework.
Yeah, good.
I'm agreeing to it, and it's all Chad's doing.
You're like a nice pink cup, by the way.
Got that from my wife at Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
We got Nick Butcher.
Nicole's Butcher.
Very simple man.
Nicole's
said subscribe.
Yeah, he did.
And we appreciate it, Nicole's Butcher.
That's a big one.
You a real one.
Nicole's Butcher is that's a Nateland royalty right there.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Right along the lines of Turler.
Yeah, he's up there.
Matt Organ. I mean, Source of Orb.
Okay.
I don't know who Matt Organ is. Sounds like
loser.
Anyway, Jesse Roth. Gosh,
dadgummit.
Sorry, I've been
sound
doing
like you
2 shows
swallowed a forgotten reptile friend.
We have a couple comments from Jesse Rothacker. I didn't realize some of these were Facebook, some of these were his YouTube, which is Forgotten Friend Reptile TV. We'll just lump them all together. He says, Jennifer, which I don't appreciate that, Jesse, be like, I'm a famous actress. And Chad be like, I work out every day so I can look like Jason Momoa. Matt's the only one not flexing in the first episode. Maybe his new name should be Humble Matt. I think we wholeheartedly disagree because we know him in real life.
And then Matt's response was,
"Don't know.
Yeah, I'm a pretty humble guy." I'm like, that's the first. Yeah, first time that you're not humble is when you call yourself humble.
No, what I said is that my humility is what I like best about myself.
Yeah. See, exactly.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm like Moses.
He goes on to say, has anyone told Chad with his hair down he looks a little bit like buff Jesus? Like if Jesus did less miracles and more push-ups.
So I get bashed by him in a comment before about talking about how I work out, and then he comes back with a comment.
Yeah.
Hey, it's working for you though. Keep it up.
Yeah.
Maybe I should do more miracles.
I mean,
you look like he compares you to Jesus. What's better
maybe I should do more miracles and less push-ups. Maybe that's my problem.
I think maybe you should. Yeah. I think there's some old comedian. I mean, not old, but it's an older joke. But he talks about how buff Jesus was. Like you always see Jesus up there on the cross in Catholic churches. He's got great abs.
I've heard that joke.
I forget who did it.
It's probably Brian.
I think the clip of you just now, Chad, where you said maybe I should do more miracles, is like the clip they play on the news when your cult goes wrong and everyone dies. Like
the 2020 last night on.
Well, good news is
this just in.
When my cult goes wrong, everyone dies. They have this recorded right here on Riverside.
You're welcome, world. We're looking out for you. Jesse goes on to say, how come Jenny is drinking from multiple cups? Is this recorded during happy hour? Do we need to have an intervention?
Yes.
I had an intervention already. Actually, I don't drink That's not a thing to be like Nate. I really just genuinely don't. But I did want to say I always do have a lot of cups, and I always get made fun of for it. Right now I've only got 2, but most mornings I have 4. And we went on a mission trip to India, 2019, I think. And we had this hotel where they have like a nice buffet, and I had coffee, tea, water, some other fruit drink like every morning. My pastor always makes fun of me for it.
Gotta get your fluids.
So, gotta be hydrated.
Yeah.
We have a comment from JC Pulford, the owner of Batesville Instagram. What up, JC? So she says, when you guys said maybe the dinosaurs picked up their tails to run, immediately I pictured them gathering their tails up like a Victorian skirt, going, "Mama!" and asteroids coming, "Mama." Solid first episode, folks. Not sure if I learned too much, except that Folkland is the place for me.
Ooh.
For that's exactly how I envisioned the dinosaur looking. Also, when I said that, I was like, it's like, so. Anyway,
that's funny.
We've got another comment from Rusty's Journey. 3 words. I loved it. I really did. That's 6 words. You guys did great.
4 words.
Average Americans talking about the average American, the greatest average American. I have listened to 8 Land. I have listened to every Nate Land from the day he started. Even his first podcast back in the AOL days. I look forward to listening to each of these. Side note, just like Jenny, I watch on YouTube while my phone is mounted on the corner of my windshield. I keep my eyes on the road and can see it at the same time. I'm a big fan.
I still use AOL.
Thanks,
so
Rusty. He's a funny guy.
Rusty.
Funny guy.
So I do want to preface real quick, but before we move on from comments, that
we have one more comment.
Go ahead.
We have a couple more.
We almost forgot it because
it'd be better if we did forget it. So anyway,
somebody had this comment. No, go ahead.
Look, we don't. Some idiot.
Some dude. I don't want to call him an idiot.
Some idiot said, "I can't even get a comment read on Folkland."
Yeah, I'm right. I think we didn't get his name there in that document.
David.
No, it was
David or
Derek Cucaracha, right? Isn't that how you say it?
Yeah. No, it's Conqueron. I think it's pronounced Conqueron.
All right, Derek. Cochran.
That's how I would say it.
We read your comment. I hope it was worth it.
Yeah.
All right, what were you?
I was just gonna say that, like, once the Nate Land episodes get back to live-ish, or I guess like recorded the same week, we will start pulling comments from the week prior. But with these pre-recorded episodes, we didn't want to pull anything that might get read later. Just for anyone who's coming on here looking for their comments to be read from actual Nate Land, we are getting there, but we're waiting until the guys come back.
Yeah,
I want everybody to know that statement is only 75% true. I just didn't even think about pulling other comments because we had so many great ones.
Yeah. True story.
Yeah. True story.
All right, moving on.
All right, should we bring in our guest?
We should bring in our guest.
Yeah. We have our first guest this week, folks. The wonderful,
it's going to be a great one.
Fellow Texan, as is myself and Chad.
What's up?
Waiting for her to answer. Oh, it's a her, by the way.
Should we preface it? What's some background info about her? Never seen this podcast. Refuses.
Yeah, she watched the intro.
We figured our first guest should
be a skeptic,
someone who's not even heard of us. Oh, here we go.
And here she is, everybody. Sriracha.
The famous Sriracha.
Sarah Chia.
Hey.
Chia.
Yeah, here I am. That's my favorite thing. And I'm not even saying that sarcastically. I think a lot of people, it's one of those things like people think they're being funny, and I think it's hilarious. So
I like it.
I always think I'm being funny.
Yeah, we
That's
know.
part of the problem.
Yeah, I've caught that.
Ooh, fire from Sarah.
You're welcome.
So
All right,
so
folks.
one
Right
one
away,
week
right
removed from
away.
my public dual threat with Sarah. Yeah,
Yeah, we need to
Yeah.
address
we have
this.
her on.
Like
Yeah,
the sad
All
attempt.
right, let's get it out of the way
Oh,
for sure.
God.
For
I'm gonna
sure.
take a nap.
Okay. I hope everyone already saw that I have extended an apology because it was never my intention to
You
hurt
don't have to
anyone's
do
feelings.
this, Sarah.
No,
You don't have to do this.
Well, this is.
No.
I felt really bad when he was like,
Oh, you
no.
shouldn't
I was
have.
hurt, and I was
I don't
like,
think he
oh my
cared.
gosh, like.
Listen, Sarah, he's a baby. Just
Well, it was what my intention for the comment was to say, Aaron could go either
Mm.
way. Like it, I can't
think it's
remember the
Zach.
name of the person
Oh,
who
no,
posted, but
sorry.
she was like Aaron,
Zach.
Chad,
Yeah, our
Yeah,
cousin Zach.
nephew
cousin,
or something.
Zach,
Yeah, nephew maybe.
Jason Momoa. And I was just saying, I felt like it could go, Aaron
Yeah.
could go either way and just
Gotcha.
have three people. But I, the way I worded it, decided to leave Chad out of the equation and did not mean to be hurtful.
I think if we
So,
really want to put this thing to bed, we need to put up that graphic again, Chad, with Aaron's Ren portrait
Yeah.
in there to really get the full effect.
Okay, we can make that happen.
So if you can add that, that'd be
Rolling
great.
the farter and
That'd be great.
gravy guy.
I looked that place up to see how
Yeah.
far away it was from me because I was like, oh my gosh, it's like this tiny little town
Where-
where they do
where
this
is
thing
it?
every year.
Oh,
I don't remember.
like south of Dallas? I know
some
there's
tiny
some place
town.
south of Dallas that used to have.
It was far. It was far away from me to the point where I would not.
Well,
like,
they
you're
have
down around Houston area? Austin, okay.
Austin.
They have a big Renaissance fair in Waxahachie, which is just south of that. Like,
yeah, that's where I'm
if-
thinking about, I think.
if Sarah just shot up I-35, she'd be there in no time. So
Yeah, I don't really have any desire to go to
They're a
Renaissance
blast.
fairs anyway.
I have
Anyway.
a friend that went to one in high school and
Alright.
stole a throwing
Sriracha,
star.
welcome to the show.
Well, look, while we're talking about
you.
public apologies, we need to get this out of the way
This is
because we got enough comments
is
about
another
it. And by that,
comment, right?
I mean one. Well, you know how the guys were talking about eating on stage. And,
Yeah.
apparently it's okay for Aaron to take a bite of a burger and then walk
Yeah,
out and do his
Yeah.
act. But not okay to chew on some ice during a
Yeah,
podcast.
really
folks.
unprofessional.
And I admit
I
it.
couldn't believe that. You're good.
Andrea Gilstrap Allen said, "Sorry, couldn't get past the first couple of minutes for the eating distraction. Just a pet peeve of
So
mine.
distracting.
Well, I'm sorry that
Cannot believe you were doing
I
that last week.
succumbed
Okay, Matt.
to the
Okay.
seduction of this
Do you-
candy.
All right.
I'm sorry that
Candy.
I ate ice and Matt's bit I think fell a little flat. I'm sorry for that too because I think I'm what inspired it.
Oh,
So
no.
Well, Andrea, thanks for saying sorry first.
Sorry, folks.
We understand.
Thanks for being the bigger gal.
Next time,
apologizing.
maybe just fast forward past that part. But I think she did it the whole episode. So. Nothing.
What?
I was just telling Andrea to just fast forward past the part she doesn't like.
So, part of the reason that,
We'll
that
put
we
it
have
in
Sarah here,
We'll put it in the chapters.
y'all are killing me. This is why we have 2-hour-long
eating.
podcasts.
Yeah.
Chad, I don't even want to hear that.
Part of the reason that we have
All right,
Sarah here,
so,
Sarah has
Sarah,
has some expertise in this area today, founding fathers and Supreme
Yeah.
Court. So,
Right.
Sarah, give us a little intro. Who are you? What makes you tick? Who's your favorite Nateland person?
Why should
Intro,
folks
like,
trust you,
Who am
Sarah?
I? Oh my gosh. What?
Why should the folks
Jen?
trust you, Sarah?
Oh gosh. Well, I actually have been working in the legal field for a long time, although it's been kind of off and on because I, took time off to raise a
Bold
family.
move.
I started working in the legal field when I was in high school, actually, and I'm older now. Anyway, the last several years, I've been working back doing paralegal work, and my specific role is a research paralegal. So I do case law research, which and just statute research as well. But case law research is what I really enjoy, and that's where I basically go and just read a bunch of cases, try to figure out what the courts have decided. So my work then gets reviewed by attorneys, because I'm not an attorney, so anything I say here will not be legal advice. I'm not allowed to give legal advice.
Real quick though, can you give me some advice? Based on your expertise, what are my chances of suing the person who got the Let's Go license plate and winning?
I would say like there would be
Was
absolutely
that
no
even in
chance
your
whatsoever.
state?
All right.
Different states, Jen. You can get your own Let's Go license
Yeah.
plate.
And it wasn't even let's go. It was just
Yeah.
This changes
it was just
everything.
it was hello
She's like,
folks
oh wait,
anyway. It wasn't
we
let's
don't
go.
we don't have
Oh,
national license
peasant.
plates.
it's fine.
You can just get Folkland.
I'm glad I
too.
got this advice before I did
Folkland
that.
license.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. I'm thinking of all the merch we're about to roll out. Oh man. All right. Anyway, sorry.
Hey, I told you guys not to steal my stuff, man.
No,
lame.
it was some other person's idea.
Anyway,
I put it
It
in
was
the
Jessica
note.
Young's idea.
I don't even know who's
The
Jessica
person
Young?
that
Sarah,
got
you are very
the
qualified
Hello
to be
Folks
here.
license
Thank you so much
plate.
for being here.
Whatever, man. All right. Who's keeping this thing rolling? 'Cause this is
You
just-
are
Yeah.
President.
You shouldn't be relying on me.
President Jen and her court gestures. Should I remind you?
All right, we need a vice president. It's going to stop being the most useless office in the land
Great transition.
right now.
That's awesome.
Good night. We're getting controversial on Folkland.
Oh, you need to think about what she was saying.
Oh, I didn't say it. I think it was
Yeah.
John Adams, wasn't it?
Did you even watch the podcast this week?
I just learned that actually from Brian Bates.
I did watch
so.
the podcast. I only got it in one time,
Not committed.
which is I did, you only know a man until you do an hour in his pants.
Yeah.
So I only did one.
So what does that say? Never mind. Keeping my
Yeah, I
tricks
did
to
like
myself.
4 hours on this. Actually, the second time I watched it like double
Oh,
speed,
nice.
so I didn't actually.
All right,
that's
Sarah. Well, let's
so
get
smart.
into it. Let's get into your pants. Let's do an hour in your pants. here.
Yeah, let's get to know Sarah.
We'll slide by.
Founding fathers.
Founding fathers.
Can anybody name them? You should after watching this, right? But I don't know that John Adams is a guy.
Yeah.
You just said
Yeah.
Benjamin.
Yeah.
Franklin wasn't.
Yeah, it
Was
was
he?
Franklin, Jefferson,
Yeah.
Oh,
Washington,
Yeah, he was
I
like
thought he just admitted lightning.
John Adams, John Jay,
Monroe,
Monroe.
I know Benjamin Rush.
John
And-
Jay,
Yeah.
Right?
James
Benjamin Rush,
Madison.
It's like I know him.
Rob Morris. Did you guys
Yeah.
hear that? Rob Morris.
Wasn't Nate like,
Aaron was like reading out the names, and it's like Rob. Like
Yeah, not at
it
all.
just doesn't sound like they would
I
have
think-
nicknames back then. Like everyone
Yeah.
in olden days
Yeah.
like went by their full name all the time. And I
Rob
started to hear
Morris. He
like
was
Rob
on,
Morris. I was just like, that sounds very
I saw
modern.
him on, what is that? Jersey Shores or
He was
something?
on Days of Our Lives.
John
right?
Hancock.
There was one guy
No,
that-
I just started watching.
Herbie Hancock.
Sorry, go ahead, Chad.
I was just saying, there was one
I was
guy that
gonna-
Aaron named that Nate was like, I think I went to high school with that guy. That's like, no, Nate, you didn't, man.
No, you didn't. Maybe it's
I forgot
Maybe.
the whole bit about JJ.
JJ.
That the guy they were like leaving. Is that John?
That was
John Jay.
that was John Jay.
John J. He
Yeah.
said, "It's the loser you forget to invite to the party." Like they're having a party,
That was
like a rap party for the Constitution. Like, man, good times.
it's like the after party.
Oh
Yeah.
crap, we forgot about JJ.
That was the first time that I laughed out loud because I
What?
don't like
She
not
internally
in my
laughs at
life,
everything.
but like in the episode
Sarah's like,
because
wait. Sarah's like, what was that?
no.
and I'm never going back.
Oh.
No, he because Nate was like, don't take any pictures.
Yeah.
Don't make any
Yeah,
paintings.
that was so funny.
And I
No
was-
portraits.
I just cracked up when he did
Yeah.
that. No paintings. So I don't know. It just I just like laughed because I don't do a whole lot of laughing out loud on things like not real like I've already laughed out loud here, but it's like a actual interaction I'm having, as opposed to like if I listen to a podcast or like even watch a comedy show like on Netflix or something. I don't like laugh like big very often, and so it's like I don't know what it was about that, but I was just like
glad we dissected
I was
that.
cracking up.
So
there's also a
I
Major League
realized I
Baseball
forgot
player
to
named
bring-
John Jay. That's what I was focused on for too long. I was like, he plays second. I was like, he played second base for the Cardinals a few years ago. Anyway, same guy, I'm sure.
What would be your Declaration of Independence, guys?
From Folkland?
And he talked about Aaron having a Declaration of Independence from Nateland.
He says
the age you could found.
He said he's going to write it, but he wouldn't even write his retraction from Planet Fitness. So I don't see this.
Speaking of writing, hold on, folks. I'll be right back.
Finally, we can move on. So anyway, Sarah, what would be your Declaration of Independence?
Maybe we should.
Who would you declare independence from? Is the first question.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably the U.S. Like I'm definitely a Texas secessionist.
Yes.
Heck yeah.
Sorry, Jen, you're out.
Jen doesn't know about all that.
I'm gonna write this down.
Oh my gosh.
No, I'm sure she doesn't.
Did you really get a feather pen?
I was telling some of my friends in California about it, and they were
California wants to break off on their own anyway.
And because of course
They're going to.
People instantly are like, secession is evil, like slavery. It's like what? Secession doesn't have to do with slavery, guys. It could be for any reason.
Podcast.
No, Sarah.
Yeah, I know.
We
this
just
shouldn't be
had
a
to
controversy.
Texas it up a little bit.
Every state at any time should have the option to secede.
Yeah, Jen, Sarah's just pointing out that if Texas left, we'd be the 13th richest country in the world by ourselves.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because we have a lot of industry here. Yeah.
Because we're that rich.
We got Tesla and Joe Rogan. What else we need? Tacos.
Babylon meant like America.
We also have Michael Malice.
Richest.
They would drop.
Without Texas, that's what I thought.
Yeah, they would drop. Probably would drop.
Well, anyway, can you guys answer this question for me? Because it just popped into my mind. Who was Yankee Doodle? I thought of because I had a feather in it.
He was just some dandy.
He was not.
He's just some dandy.
God. Matt, I'm out, man.
I think he's just like kind of like an Uncle Sam. Like he's not an actual person.
Oh,
just like a cartoon. Like it's just like a general revolutionary. I don't know, not Tory.
Don't spend too much time on
person.
This.
I thought this would be a little more climactic. Bringing this on because they talked about writing stuff in pens, feather pens.
You don't have to dip that one in ink. It doesn't look like.
I felt like when they said how much they paid that guy to write the Declaration. At first they were like they only paid him $30, and then they like translated it into modern money. It was like $850 or something. I was like, I would write that. Like, I would absolutely because like all he was literally doing was scribing it out.
He doesn't have to like come up with the words.
Yeah,
4,500 words. 4,500 words.
That's like a college paper. That's not bad.
Yeah, correct.
And most of it you're just quoting Hamilton anyway.
I paid $850 to write college papers.
Back then they couldn't quote Hamilton, Matt, because Hamilton was.
Yeah, that's the joke, Jen. Thanks for.
Wasn't a good one.
Pretty good. Everybody else laughed. Everyone else that understood it laughed. I think.
I didn't hear it, so I didn't laugh.
I don't think
anyway,
laughed.
Hometown shout out.
You would have laughed. Chad, you would have loved it.
Hey, we need to bring this up. Talking about controversy. Jen's hometown was in the news.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, Sarah, weigh in on this legal matter for us. A vice principal read a book to children called "I Need a New Butt" or something like that.
It's like a children's book.
Okay.
Basically, he was brought in last minute to fill in for somebody during the reading hour, and he takes a book off the shelf. He's like, "Hey, this is my butt book. I read it all the time. I love butts. Here we go." Reads it to the kids.
Saying that.
Gets fired. The school board votes him out. And so,
Reprimanded.
man, first I was like so proud of my home state being in the news, and it was related to butts, because who doesn't love a good butt story? But kind of unfortunate for the
Butt brain
vice
over
principal who
here
just
got
stepped in there
fired.
that day. Butt brain.
Yeah, I guess I don't even understand like what the book was supposed to be about.
Oh, it's just like a
was
silly.
was the content of the book some like
Here's a quick-
inappropriate sex ed
No,
book
it's
or
just a
something?
silly story. Like
A quick,
I need a
Yeah,
new butt.
I feel like how many librarians have chosen to put like Captain Underpants
Right,
in their school library?
right.
Like, I mean, I don't know. That
so
seems
one
a little
line from the book
excessive.
said, "My butt has a crack in it. I need to find a
The
new
firing
one.
seems
Am
excessive.
I going to get a steel one or a bronze?" Like it was that was kind of the preface of the book. And I was like, man,
I thought it was a little like
now these kids are gonna all think their butts are broken.
the book "Are You My Mom"?
As a
Have you read that book?
Are you my mom?
yeah, that doesn't sound at all the same to me.
Yeah, it's like, is that my
I
butt?
think
Is that my butt?
I think it's a dumb. I think it's a kind of dumb decision to read that book. I think it sends a mixed message to kids so young when you're still trying to teach them about consent and private parts. To then go in and start like talking
How your
about
butt's broken?
Here
Yeah.
we go.
But
Here we go.
I would not. I mean, getting fired is pretty extreme.
Well, I am glad.
I think I would have been like, how about let's not read that book next year?
Right.
Let's just find a different funny book. There's a lot of funny
Would you
stuff
say,
in the
Sarah,
world.
they were looking for a reason? I think,
Possibly.
if it comes down
Yeah,
to a butt
possibly.
book, they were probably.
Maybe this was
Yeah.
the final straw. Maybe like his decision-making skills were in question for a long time, and now they're just like, yeah,
He's
guy
a
does
very
not have
controversial
the
vice
discretion
principal.
we need
and
for a vice principal.
Now he's out. So,
All right.
My hometown was mentioned on this episode of
Really?
Nateland.
Oh, tell us about
Yeah.
that, Sarah.
Yeah,
I
so I'm
guess.
from Evansville, Indiana, and he was talking about being Nate was talking about being in Indianapolis, driving to Evansville and driving back to Indianapolis, and he was talking about how they're on different time zones.
Mm.
He was a little bit factually inaccurate, as you might expect,
no
but
way.
it's because Evansville is not the only place in Indiana in Central Time. So basically, like the bottom corner where Evansville is, and then the top corner up near Chicago are both on Central Time, and then the rest of the state is on Eastern. And it's a huge controversy that, well, I don't know if it is now because I don't live there and I've been out of the loop for a long time. But like, I grew up in Central Time Zone, and then for 2 years I moved to Indianapolis, like in elementary school, like 3rd and 4th grade. And what's really weird is that they, up until 2006, the rest of the state didn't change for daylight savings. So they were on Eastern Standard all the time, which means half the time they were on the same time as Eastern, and half the time they were on the same time as Central. And it
They
was
just rotate
so
time
weird.
zones instead of
So
doing
now
daylight savings time.
they
That's
change.
interesting.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But now they don't do it that way anymore.
Gotta be honest. Didn't follow
You
that.
checked
but
out pretty early.
Thank you for sharing,
Yeah,
Sarah.
I saw.
Look, I had about 3 things up there going on. I liked how they mentioned they had was it James Madison? They hired him to write responses like back and forth to each other.
Yeah, he's the ghostwriter.
Like telephone.
Yeah, and I thought that was a Nicolas Cage role, being the ghostwriter. Didn't he? Wasn't he in that role?
Matt, I'm literally. Oh my
like
gosh, I'm done with you, bro.
All right, moving on.
Hey, Chad, could you give Matt a message for me? Could you send him this letter? Could you tell him that I didn't appreciate him getting us off topic?
So hey Matt,
what is
I just spent the night at a hotel and need to let you know that Jen didn't like that stuff, man. So that's
what does the hotel have to do with
that? Does that have to do with anything?
Because oh my gosh,
was it a Holiday Inn
Express?
Express?
No, it was Nate was saying that James Madison was basically like, he was at George Washington's house and Washington's like, hey, can you give this can you write this letter to Congress for me? Madison's like, yeah. So he's like, then he rides into town, probably stays the night like a nice hotel, wakes up in the morning. He's like, GW says, thanks guys. And then Congress is like, "Oh man, that
But I
was so
think
nice.
he
Hey,
wrote
can,
it from.
can you write a
Edub.
response a little more professional for us?" And he's like, "Yeah." So then James Madison goes, spends the night at the hotel, wakes up the next morning, and says, "Congress thrilled. They're just thrilled." Says, "Oh, that's good. That's good." So he's literally just waking up in the morning, writing
That's
a
the
quick
professional version.
response, and he's like, "Here you go." Anyway, none of this is relevant.
It was good. Thank you for getting that, that message across.
Yeah.
Hey, who remembers what they were making name jokes about somebody Washington? I wrote Jar Jar Washington down, but I don't know for the life of me who it relates to now.
Yeah, I saw that. I
Yeah.
didn't catch that.
But you have some Paul Revere facts.
I do.
Hit us with
I
that
do.
and make it
Yeah.
exciting,
Yeah.
Sarah.
I'm just gonna go on the record to say I am not an exciting person, so I'm not even gonna try with
Well,
that.
we're gonna look forward to it.
That's the tagline for this podcast. Just
I'm not even gonna try. Yeah, so the Paul Revere thing is that so I think Aaron was the one who brought up that he only rode 12 miles, and like you were like, oh, like I thought it was like super long and whatever, but he was actually only one of like 5
Really?
different people who rode. And a couple other ones also had poems written about them, and I don't know why the poem about Paul Revere was the one that really caught on and
Well,
gets
it's a
like
great name.
taught
Yeah.
to school children everywhere.
He
But
paid the
well,
most.
in America anyway. But
can
the
I just ask
yeah.
a question there, Sarah? Can you just give a little background on what Paul Revere was writing? Like what was the whole ride about? You know?
Well, he was riding a horse.
Yeah.
That was what he was
No, I
riding.
don't mean
It's
like what
He was
animal was he riding? I mean like why? Why was he riding?
he was riding.
Riding across the land.
He was a
picking up
messenger
sand.
to say that like additional British soldiers
Yeah, the
were
British were coming.
basically the British are coming is like his thing. Like basically like England sent over more
Yeah.
soldiers, and so they were arriving, and so like some horseback riders get sent out to like spread the message. Paul Revere was supposed to go on the Lexington to Concord path, but he didn't make it all the way. So 3 guys set out together to do that. Well, 2 set out together and 1 met them halfway, and only one of them made it all the way. But then the unsung hero
MCA
is Israel
Israel
Bissell. He rode almost 350 miles over like a 4 or 5 day period.
Night.
He like took
sucking up the
over
land.
from Concord and kept going, and like whoever heard of him?
How
like
many,
like you hear Bissell.
How many Rhode Islands is
Yeah.
that?
Like
350
That's a great
miles?
question.
That's a good question.
Hey,
I
more
don't know.
importantly,
Where? But like, give us a rep. Like 350 miles is from where to where?
So 200 miles is from Purdue to Evansville. I know that.
Oh, that helps
That was
nobody unless they're from
yeah.
Indiana.
Let me
It's
tell
like
ya.
saying
That's what I know to measure. Stuckey's is exactly
how
100
many
miles in
Shroot
between
bucks
both
are equal
of
to
them.
a Stanley nickel. I mean, come on.
I don't do a lot of driving, but I guess like that's what I know. I know that's 200 miles because I drove
almost
that so
10
much.
Rhode Islands. Almost
So,
10
I
whole
think
Rhode
it-
Islands.
Wow, man.
You just
Yeah,
Googled
37
across?
miles from east to west. So
Or up and
I'm
down.
amazed that information's on the internet.
are you? Where do you think the
Okay.
guys
Here's a
found
question: Do you
Yeah.
think that? Oh, I thought they just knew. I just thought they all just knew these things. You think James Madison was upset when he heard about Paul Revere? Like he was like, "Man, I'm the guy who brings messages."
Oh,
Like they woke
well,
him up and they were like, "James,
maybe James wrote the
got some bad
message,
news."
and Paul Revere's just to
it?
deliver it.
No, y'all. The story
maybe.
was Paul Revere was looking for the lanterns, right? He was looking to 1 if by land, 2 if by sea, and like once they saw it, isn't that when he took off?
I've
Maybe
definitely heard
he
that
got
phrase
sent. There's
before.
there's another dude who was like in charge of the whole
Yeah.
thing that set him off,
I
but
think
I
it
don't remember
was
his
Mike.
name.
Mike.
But according
Mike
to this,
Diamond,
there was
I
someone
think.
else.
According to
so.
this,
I think the guy that sent him was Michael Diamond. Mike Diamond. Mike D.
Mike
Yeah.
D
Mike.
and James Madison
Definitely
had beef.
was not
Adam. Rock.
Also, real quick, can I correct one thing that really grinded my gears? Is when
No,
Aaron. Okay,
we got to
all
move
right.
on. I'm just kidding.
No.
Is when
I'm just
is when
kidding.
Aaron said, "Let's say the average speed of a horse is 15 miles an hour." And I was like, "Dude, horses run substantially faster than 15 miles an hour."
That's what I was thinking.
Like you have,
Isn't that why they call it horsepower?
But I mean, can they sustain it for 12?
well, so
I don't know how long they can
the
sustain
average
that
speed
high
of a
thing.
horse is 30 to 40. And again, I
Okay.
mean, you're probably not going to ride that for too long, but at the same time, I was just like dumbfounded because I'm like, dude, you see guys in the NFL nowadays running 20 plus miles an hour, and you're telling me they're faster than a horse? Like,
Usain Bolt, one of the
it's
greatest
not
American
a horse.
athletes.
Usain Bolt, one of the greatest American.
One of the
American.
greatest American athletes.
Usain Bolt,
They say that in the Human Body episode.
USA.
You're like
USA.
talking about watching the U.S. trials, and Usain Bolt wasn't even there. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, Chad, I just hope you're ready for the controversy that's going to come back to you this week, taking shots at Aaron. I think you've been beloved so far on this podcast in one whole episode. You've been the fan favorite, and now I'm worried about your
Man,
reputation.
I just want people to know that horses are faster than humans, and Aaron does not seem to know that.
But I think that one lady might like you. What was her name?
I don't remember.
I mean, I don't want to make Lucy mad. I have a high respect for what she does.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to make Lucy mad. I'm going to tell you that right now.
So anyway, I just wanted to bring light to that factual evidence.
Yeah. Horses are faster than 15 miles an hour. But he did say they were at a pretty good gallop, so I think that's fair.
Well, I imagine that Paul Revere
I think
wasn't
I'm gonna
doing a
ask
light
that lady
trot.
to watch Folkland.
I think are you saying you could run 15 miles an hour?
Who's saying what right now? Because this is
There's a bad echo somewhere. I think it's Jen.
grind.
Yeah, I think Jen. I think it's you because you're the only one who's not
She's got
echoing to me.
headphones in.
Dick, do you have headphones in, or are you on a speaker?
No, I have no headphones.
You're
in.
the problem.
That's probably what's going on.
It's you.
So then, just Jen, you talk
It's
the whole
nothing
time.
personal.
We'll just sit here.
Everything's personal, Sarah.
No.
I'll talk the whole time. Just
We'll
Jen?
just message you our
Great.
comments.
Well,
We're just sitting
good
here.
night. Give me.
Like,
I have
typing
headphones.
out.
Hold on.
It's too late
Like,
now.
oh, and Matt says this,
Just
but
edit
I'm
this
not
part
reading
out.
that.
I almost called you Aaron. Edit this part out. What's your name? Chad.
Jason.
Or don't. Whatever. So while she's doing that, I think it's only fitting to talk more about Paul Revere. The one thing we didn't discuss is the great Beastie Boys song that pretty much the entire time Sarah was talking, I was just making references to that. And I know none of you caught it, but I'm sure somebody out there caught it. So,
I only know two
and
Beastie
Paul
Boys
Revere's not one of
songs.
them.
I didn't know they had
No, I know you got to
Mhm.
fight
The
for your
party, yeah.
right, and
Yeah.
See,
sabotage.
you know more than
You
that
play a lot of
because
Guitar Hero. You're younger.
everyone knows Brass Monkey, right?
I don't know it
And
by
then
name. I don't know what that
No
is.
Sleep Till Brooklyn.
What?
Inter-
Why are we
Intergalactic.
talking about? Why are we talking about the
Intergalactic's
Beastie
great,
Boys
too.
right
We
now?
were talking about Paul Revere.
They have a song called Paul Revere. Yeah.
You missed it, Jen. We can move on now.
Awesome.
All right,
Okay.
cool.
Jen, you step away from one
Like
segment, and this whole
headphones.
podcast just falls apart.
I
Well,
thought
I'm
we
not
were just
surprised.
getting a stride.
You're the
Finally, so
worst.
then.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Go ahead, Jen.
Apparently, I suck. So why should I go ahead? You go ahead, Matt. You go ahead.
You were
Take
about to say something before the whole headphone controversy. So.
Oh, I got.
my
Oh.
gosh.
There was. I was gonna ask that lady to watch the podcast and see what she thought of Chad. That's what I was gonna say. It's just naturally if he grinded her gears or if she was like, he's all right.
Yeah.
Strapping young lad. Looks like a buff Jesus.
I'm out.
Yeah. Sorry, I know you guys already talked about that, but
Moving on. So, Sarah, what other
All
facts do
right.
you have for us?
Something about the Constitution. Some of them signed it later. You have some facts on that, Sarah?
yeah, like they all signed it later. Like literally no one signed it on July 4th.
Nobody.
So they didn't they didn't sign it till I think probably what happened was that like they voted on it in July, and then I think probably that's when they paid
Oh,
the
yeah.
$30 to the guy to write it. And then when it was
So-
actually written out all nice, is
He
when they
just-
like they voted on like the napkin version, right? That Thomas Jefferson just scribbled on the cloth napkin. But in August is when they
So he-
signed it. And then they didn't even send it to England because one of the like Nate was like, "How'd we get it back?" They like it got sent over. It like news got sent over with like just the regular
There's, like, a
like
picture
monthly
of it.
report.
They emailed
to
a picture of the Declaration.
He texted.
Oh, yeah.
But the
yeah.
painting of it,
they
yeah.
faxed it.
There's a painting of it?
No.
There's also not a
Sarah,
picture.
Sarah, you can't do these things to
Hey,
me,
Sarah,
It's- I did like
Keep
the
up.
picture of it though. They showed where who's John Hancock.
Yeah.
His signature was. That's how I sign birthday cards. Just so you know, big.
Even like a
I'm the
group.
first one to sign
Oh
it.
man.
Yep, first one to sign it. This past week, I did it. Had a birthday card. I'm talking this big. I just took the whole upper left quadrant.
It's because you're president.
I like people like you who sign cards that way
I
because
like you
I
too.
never want to sign it at all.
Yeah, she has to
I
say
like
that
people
she
like
said she
you.
like people like you. She
Thank
doesn't like
you.
you. Jen.
Like you.
Thank you for the clarification, Sarah. Moving on.
Hey, so do y'all think
funny.
they chose July 4th because it was Independence Day, or do you think that came later?
Because they knew we'd have to fight aliens that day one day.
Is that a joke?
It was a joke from
Yeah,
the
it's a
podcast,
joke.
and then
Yeah, that
Nate
was
was
a
like,
joke.
he was
Nate
like,
made
well,
that joke.
we're gonna invent fireworks the same day, so we might as well have a reason
Where are you gonna have the
to invent fireworks. Like the Chinese haven't been doing that for thousands of years.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that was also when hot dogs came on the scene. They were like, it pairs well. Freedom, hot
It
dogs.
seems like they voted
Wieners,
according
freedom.
to Sarah. It seems like they voted it on the second, paid the dude, and he just sat down on like the 4th to start writing it. And he was like, you got to put your heading up there and everything. So that's why it's probably the 4th of July.
Yeah, according to John Adams, they voted on it on the 2nd, and the 4th had no relevance whatsoever.
No, I know what they did
But
on the 4th.
according to one of our government department's websites, they
Can't trust
adopted
those
it on the
guys.
4th. But according to a different government website, they adopted it on the 2nd.
I think
So,
Matt was right on the money. I think the guy, the nerd, sat down to write it on July 4th, and they were like, "What are we gonna do while we're waiting on this nerd to finish this paper? We're gonna party like every self-respecting, fun person would want to do, while the other nerd works hard." And so they were just like,
yeah.
"Let's get our feathers in our caps, Yankee Doodle, Yankee Doodle,
That's
Yankee Doodle style."
It's a way different song.
A way different song.
It goes along with that I Need a New Butt book, the Yankee Doodle.
Everybody poops.
Oh man. Hey, I felt like Bad News Bates made a return on this podcast. He was just kind of peeking out, showing us colors, talking about who was the guy they didn't want to sign something. Do you remember that part? They were saying it's sad when no one wants you to sign anything.
Oh, you're talking about Brian.
I don't think they were saying that they didn't want one of the founding fathers. I think he just threw this in because it was like very tangentially related.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, he was like, when no one wants you to sign. Like he was with Leanne Morgan, and
He was,
he's asking Nate, "Wouldn't you think? Don't you think?" And he's like, "I mean, are you asking me that?"
Nate's like, "Are you asking me so that I can ask you?
Want me to ask
because
you?
I wouldn't know about." He's like, and then Brian's like, "Yeah, you remember back when you were hanging out with Chris Rock?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh," trying to go back in the vault a little bit.
See, I think
Ouch.
Brian was asking for validation on. I did the right thing, just walking away, right? Like you're there. You think I should have
I
walked
don't
away?
think he
right?
did.
You think you should have signed it?
I think he should have. That was his shot. And what if you know
No.
what it's like? It's like when you're wait for the argument. It's like when you're an insecure person
I object.
and you think no one you can't object yet. I haven't established my argument, right?
Well,
Sarah?
you're wrong. Whatever it is, go ahead.
Exactly.
Okay.
Order.
Thank you,
We need
Sarah.
this.
Yeah.
Sarah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look, I think when you're an insecure person and you're like, "Oh, I have no friends, nobody likes me," you put out the vibe that no one should like you, and it's
Okay.
your fault that you have no friends. And so, Brian, that's what I think will happen. I love Brian, but maybe people would want you to sign something if you didn't walk away with your tail between your legs. I don't know.
No,
Just a
I think-
guess.
I would have been offended if he'd walked away from me.
Yeah.
Because I,
I'm too good for that
I would have been
poster.
like, well, I mean, I would have like been going up to him because, like, no
Yeah.
offense to Leanne Morgan, but
Yeah, who's she?
Whatever.
Who's
I
that lady?
trust-
I would have been going up and being like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
breakfast, sign my
That's true.
whatever.
They were
We-
talking
thing
about a
is."
particular
Chad,
rather have
poster
breakfast.
that had several people's, like, I think he said Kid Rock or Sting or somebody like that had already
Sting,
signed
yeah.
it.
Nate.
Yeah,
Nate was
the
on there.
thing.
And
So obviously no
Brian
standards.
was-
I would have signed it.
Yeah, you would have.
I would have been like, heck yeah, my name's
I
on
think-
that. I would have signed it real big in
Yeah.
the top left quadrant.
Yeah, you would have. And they'd have been like, "Oh, good night. Who's this person? Let's start all over."
But they know my name.
Yeah.
Now they know my
Like
name.
John Hancock.
You photo bomb a
I-
lot of people
I love
too,
it
don't
when
you, Jen?
Brian-
You're a big photo bomber.
Probably.
I am.
I don't know that I'm.
Just
I
say
don't know
yes.
that
You
I-
know you are.
I just am trying to think. I can't tell you the last time that's happened. I mean, to youth kids at church for sure. That's the most hilarious thing
Yeah.
to do. But we don't have a youth group right now, and I don't want to talk about it. Move on.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
So yeah, I love photobombing too, actually. But I think I trust Brian's ability to read the room, and I think he probably made a good decision on that.
Okay. We're gonna let that
Okay.
one go.
You know,
I did want to say, Brian, when you and Aaron, I had to think really hard to like not say Chad. If Brian, when you and Aaron come to Atlanta, I will get you to sign something, even if it's my face.
We don't look that much
or
alike where
arm.
you should be getting confused about who you're talking to right now.
Hey, some lady agreed with me on the comments.
I will say though that TH
She was like, I get it.
Jefferson was definitely a power move. Like
oh yeah,
just putting his initials.
epic.
I don't get that comment at all, but I thought it was hilarious. I was just like, "Why? Why?"
He's just like,
but-
he's like, look, guys, I don't have enough ink for
I
this.
can't put Amos.
It's
I can only put TH.
Jefferson. I don't need.
John Hancock already
Amos,
took
I'm
up all the
better than that.
room, so
I'm better than Amos.
I hope you other guys out.
Do you think that when they read it, they got it and they were like, unrolling it, and they were like, Jefferson, Jefferson,
They're
who's
like he mispronounced the
Nobody
Yeah,
Man,
I think
the
it's,
I'm actually this is so funny. The shot heard around the world like sitting in Concord, and Nate's like, who? And then Sarah's like, that's the $1 million question, Nate. Who shot it? Who shot it?
Yeah.
It's so funny.
I actually don't get it at all. I don't even know.
You stole my joke. You should have
Yeah.
just let me say it.
Sarah, thank you.
That was my joke,
Oh
everyone.
my God, he's a nightmare.
That's the trend.
Nightmare.
That's the trend.
He did this the last episode, and I'm glad you brought
Jen,
it
you
up.
said I couldn't steal jokes from you.
Jeez.
I like. I have a
C.H.
friend-
Anders, you have got to stop stealing people's material.
We
Yeah, we don't use
we don't
H's
use
in this
H's.
household.
Kat and I.
Oh, thank
Kat
you.
and I don't do that.
Look,
No, actually, I do.
I-
I do use an H. Please never spell my name without one.
Sarah, I would like us to get through the rest of this podcast without using the letter C, J, Q, W, X, or Y. You think we can do it?
No.
bad.
I was thinking about it, and I was like, how do you say what even says
Yeah.
W sound?
My last
D.
name, that's one.
D does.
Like-
No, what are you going to replace the W?
No.
with?
I mean,
Oh.
like for another for another like the whole thing was like, you don't need these letters because we have other ones that already
That's fair.
say the same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
But like, no, we
Not on
don't.
W.
Like, why?
Like if
We don't.
like we
Like,
would
what-
say
Could something
cad.
else say
Cad.
yeah? Like, how would
Wha.
you spell
Wha.
you?
Like a U.
You
You
just
could
use the
use a
letter
U.
U, like in your
Yeah.
texting.
I do want.
What about yellow? How would you spell yellow without a
Hello.
Y?
You just right. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
It's British.
Yeah.
That
It
checks
does
out,
check
and
out.
everybody knows what
Makes
you mean.
sense. Yeah.
So
Are you saying
you're like
yellow
hello?
or
you don't know
hello?
if you're saying hello
No,
or
the color.
yellow.
Yeah.
It's like aloha, you know?
Hello and goodbye.
It
Yeah.
means coming
It's all
and going.
context.
I will say that
Hello and
H
And that's why
is crucial to my name. Sarah, H is not crucial to your name.
It's fact.
That unfortunately that is true. I hate to admit it, but
we don't have to worry
That's
about
true.
any letters for Matt's name. He just
M and
uses
the at
symbols.
sign. Yeah.
So.
yeah,
Yeah.
the ad
Lazy.
sign. Yeah.
The end.
Anyway, all right. I guess Benny, what's his Franklin?
Ben.
His
Franklin.
stuff does not check out. Does not check out.
I mean,
But his fart
No.
proudly letter,
I'll give.
that
Yeah, that was hilarious.
great.
I'll give Ben Franklin credit on some of the because like in America, we're not Canadians or British where we spell color wrong or favorite wrong
Or
those
gray.
kinds of things. Well, I spell it both ways. I kind of go back.
I
and
do
forth
too,
on that.
actually. I catch myself doing it.
I never know
too.
which one. I'm like, they're both right. So
Yeah.
I feel like the EY like feels
It
more
does.
Really?
sophisticated. So when I want to impress
I
I
people,
think if
I'm
I want
with
to
you
talk
on
about
that,
clothing or a color of gray, I want to say
Yeah.
AY. But if I want to talk about the dreary skies, it's EY. Oh yeah,
the
it's,
gray
it's
skies,
Gray.
EY.
Why is Jen
Gray
looking at us like
skies
she didn't
today.
know that there was two types of grays?
I just checked out for everything. I had to look up fart proudly because I think it's the only thing I've been interested in this entire time.
Yeah,
And the portrait,
get
I'm
it.
gonna send it to you of Chad of Benjamin Franklin pairs so nicely with an essay called "Fart Proudly." Like it looks like this guy coined the word farting. Like the word fart exists because of this picture. Is what it looks like. I think it's the only thing in history I've ever been interested in. Fart proudly. So
I like how when they were all the John Hancock talk, they didn't make one Herbie Hancock Tommy Boy reference.
I
But
know.
whenever
I know.
they discuss Benjamin Franklin and John Adams sleeping in a room together, like Brian throws out, like Tommy Boy, like that's the scene from Tommy Boy you're going to mention
Because they shared a hotel room
Yeah.
in
John
one
Hancock,
scene.
don't you
It's
mean
great. It's a great
Herbie
scene.
I think-
Hancock?
Yeah.
I think they were listening to Folkland, even though they pre-recorded that episode, and I think the time traveling Aaron link could be substantiated with that evidence. So I'd like to make my case for that.
For the
Sarah.
record, no one ever said time traveling.
if you
It
could
was
take it
time
to the judges.
time manipulation, not the same thing.
Oh.
Well,
when they were sharing the room, they were talking. Like they had this fight, right, about like whether the window should be open or not, and when they're sleeping. And there was a question on Nateland as to like, well, how do they know this stuff? And Aaron was like, oh, they just wrote letters to each other all the time, which is hilarious because like it is true. But I actually found the source of where this story came from, which is John Adams's diary. And in the diary, he references reading a letter from Benjamin Franklin to someone else. But it was so bizarre. I don't think it needs to be read
that a
in full
cat?
here, but
That's probably my
Did you
son.
hear it?
what? Oh.
Sorry,
But
Sarah.
basically what happened is that Ben Franklin, like John Adams was like, I'm gonna get a cold. I don't want to die of a cold. Like that was actually a concern he had, right? And Ben Franklin was like, I don't think you're acquainted with my theory of colds. And Adams is like, I actually was though, because I read this letter that he wrote to Dr. Cooper. And I've already read about this theory of cold, but it's a very interesting theory. So I let him start talking, and then I fell asleep
That's
while
so
he was
funny.
still talking.
Typical
the
John.
diary
And
entry
that's what
in a
killed him.
nutshell.
And then he got a cold.
So
No,
And died.
I just, yeah, the amount of like writing they did
it's
back
crazy.
then
It's crazy.
in like letters and
So I'm
diaries
thinking,
and
so we
yeah.
got away from that because we had phones, like phones were invented, and then then we got eventually emails and then text, and now
I don't think phones were the thing that got away from that because I'm sure they still wrote in diaries, even though they had an old,
I'm
like a
saying
phone to
we
call
as
someone.
society, I stopped writing letters when I was
Emails.
could start dialing a phone. I mean, people when I was growing up, we weren't writing letters, corresponding to my grandmother
I
and
was,
stuff all the
but I
time.
moved
Yeah,
a few
and then
times, so
I had a pen
and
pal
then we're
at one point.
yeah,
but
I
you're
had a
not
pen pal in Las
writing.
Cruces,
You're
New
not writing a
Mexico.
letter
Maybe
to
we'll
your
find them to this
neighbor
podcast.
across the street or down the road or across town.
Actually, I did.
Jen,
I wrote
no, you
letters
didn't.
to that.
You're
Yeah,
you're dumb.
you clearly were not a little girl.
So what I'm saying is
We
now.
What
wrote
are you
letters to
trying
our
to
neighbors
say,
all the time.
Chair. You call her chair.
I called her.
Chair.
Look, Chad, we've mended our conflict so well that we're now being unified in Jen's mind.
So
Don't you cheer
we get listen to my theory here. We get away from letter writing. We move on to phone calls. We move on to email, and now we're back full circle where we're just sharing everything through text and like Facebook posts and stuff. Do you think
Oh boy.
What's your point?
that we've come full circle?
This is
That we're just like writing
writing
down
everything
everything
again.
now. We're
Yeah.
documenting everything.
Just like we were.
We're documenting everything again.
I think
Just
we
like
never
the
moved
founding
away from it.
fathers.
Here's my
I
question.
think we
Do
did.
y'all think their thumbs got sore like ours do? Do y'all know what I mean? Like when you write too much, like your thumb gets sore.
I feel like their muscles here
Yeah,
were like just
like
massive.
huge hands.
My
Huge
thumbs
hands.
don't get sore. Why do your thumbs get sore?
When you write, your
When
thumb
you
doesn't
write,
get
you
sore?
don't get a cramp
Like
right here.
No.
Like when you hand write
That
things.
just shows that Jen doesn't write
No,
very
I'm
often.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
have you
pretty much.
seen
Like-
this?
I know you're not riding with that thing.
My dearest love,
All
There's not
day.
even good ink in that pen.
it was a gray
Chad,
afternoon.
I told you that in confidence, so let's move on.
Let's move on. Is right.
My favorite thing was when they described John Adams like a hideous hermaphroditical character. I thought that was great. I think that I would relate to Benjamin Franklin on that regard, and I think we can all guess who John Adams is on this podcast. Don't think I need to spell it for you because you don't use letters in your name.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
I
me
don't know
what
because
you're
I have
talking
long
about.
hair.
We all use at
I
least
checked
one
out.
letter.
Sorry. Somebody that other than me wasn't talking, so I just stopped listening.
I don't know who that's an impression of.
Oh, I'm
Sriracha.
sure you do. No.
Let's keep
Yeah,
going.
Oh, wow, even our guests
She's
are
like, hey,
doing this to us. Great,
I have
guys.
something in a few
Really
Glad
hours
great.
someone
from
else
now.
is.
Can we get this moving?
I loved when Nate said, "Was the
Yeah.
wheel not invented?"
Talking about the wheelchair.
When they were
yeah.
talking about
Oh
the
my gosh, I
wheelchair.
know. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I can't stand Ben
Really?
Franklin. Like, I feel like he is like the most pretentious
Wow.
person.
Seeing
Or
as I just compared himself to me,
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Controversy
Sarah?
strikes.
Or he's like an incredibly like I'm so quirky,
Hmm.
look at me kind of person.
Yeah.
See,
One of
I
those
hate
two.
Thomas Jefferson.
And this, when they talked about being brought in by 4 prisoners, I was just like,
I think that was just a common thing.
Why?
Though. I don't think that was too
You
much.
think people
out
were
of
just
the
getting carried
ordinary.
around by prisoners, Matt, all the time? Just so common?
to be carried
No,
around by
just
prisoners, I
just
think it
being
was pretty
treated
out of the
however,
ordinary.
You know how everyone has Teslas now?
know.
It was prisoners back then. A lot more economical.
What's what Matt is saying is he doesn't care about prisoners, and so I
Yeah.
think we all know
Yeah,
what that
that's
says
exactly what I said.
about him.
I've cared about prisoners a lot since I read a book by a guy who teaches at John Jay College
Yeah.
of Criminal Justice, actually. So
Full
bringing it all back
circle,
around
full
to
circle.
John Jay, like he's been very influential in my
Oh,
Oh,
life.
he's pretty
The
famous.
second baseman
He's
for the
pretty more
Cardinals.
famous than
Apparently.
they give him credit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I think.
That's the one.
I liked what they used to have to call the president back in the day, and I think I'm gonna ask for you all to call me this
Nope.
now. Her Highness the President of these United Folkland and Protector of her
Not doing
liberties.
that.
You don't think it'll
Nope.
I
catch on?
thought you were wanting us to just call you a buffoon.
A
Sorry.
No.
That's where you were going with that.
No.
Hey, who's
We were saving that for you, Matt.
who's y'all's least favorite founding father? Sarah's is Benjamin Franklin. Mine is Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah.
Because he
Why?
cut out the things that he didn't like in the Bible and like made himself his own Bible.
That's fair.
So don't like that guy. What about y'all, Jen, Matt?
Sounds
I
like
did.
that's a problem.
Yeah. I honestly, T.H. Jefferson is not a bad option on that. I don't really care one way or the other about a lot of these guys. So
They're all dead
yeah.
now.
I'm not that invested to
Um,
say I
Except
really
John
don't
Jay,
like
he's
this
thriving
guy,
in the MLB.
You know what's sad is that I actually will use Hamilton as my source for my answer because I don't really know too much about the founding fathers. So, Aaron Burr, I don't know if he was a founding father or not, but he was in the play.
He's
know if
hanging
he
out with
was.
those guys at least.
Not a
And-
fan.
Yeah, he was in the.
Well, he
was
killed
in the
Alexander
mix.
Hamilton.
He was in
Did
the
they do a
mix.
duel?
But
Yeah, that's kind of
Yeah,
the
he
whole
shot him.
thing.
he shot him.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember? I don't. Chad might
Oh.
be too young.
Uh,
Chad, I don't know
Some
how old
Disney.
you are, but I know that Matt and I are
Okay.
the same age. There was this commercial in the '90s. I don't remember what it was for, but
Oh,
like
peanut
this guy
butter.
gets a phone
Peanut
call
butter.
from
Yes. Yes. No, it's for
was
milk.
it for peanut
It
butter?
was for milk, but he's eating
Okay.
peanut butter. Yeah.
Yes. This guy gets a question that he's like gets from
Radio
a
content,
like a
yeah.
radio program doing like a quiz show. He's like, for $10 million, who killed
Yes.
Alexander Hamilton? And he had like just put peanut butter in his mouth.
He's like trying to mumble. He's like,
I'm not gonna do it justice. I'm not even gonna try.
And he's trying to say Aaron Burr.
I will try to
Oh,
find
yeah,
a video of
yeah.
it and post it on
The
the
Folkland episode.
our
I can
Facebook
put it
group.
like in our episode.
Oh my gosh, my family growing up, we
Oh,
loved
yeah.
that commercial.
So great.
It
And
was
he just needed
hilarious.
milk. And he could have won the $10 million or
If
whatever.
only he'd had
And it
milk.
does the body good.
Jen checked out.
I don't
so
know
long
if Jen
ago.
checked out or is frozen. Her screen is like frozen.
Definitely checked out.
I'm just, there is some kind of thing. All your cameras are off, so I don't know what's happened. But
That's
We
not
just
what's
want-
I can
on our
hear
end.
you carrying
Jen,
on.
we just
I
want
can
you to
see
know that
everyone.
you're the only one who's had any technical issues this entire podcast for us.
Well, I definitely appreciate you pointing that out. It definitely makes me feel warm and fuzzy on the inside. I'm just looking at how much, gosh, there's like left in the notes, and we're just
There's a lot
We don't
left.
have to cover all of
we're
it.
not going to get through all of it. We got to wrap this
Why
up.
don't we skip
yeah.
the rest of the founding fathers and jump to the Supreme Court? I'm sure Sarah knows this, so this question for the other two. What is the difference between the Supreme Court and a regular court?
It's supreme.
Yeah.
It's better.
The
It's higher up.
Supreme Court comes with sour cream and
Is it
guac.
federal?
Yeah, it's in the federal system, and in most states, the Supreme Court is like the highest court.
Yeah. It's the
But
highest court in all the
not all.
All
land.
the land.
Well, but in
Like the
some
gym.
because states have their thing too, and there are a couple states. I think New York, the Supreme Court is actually just like the regular trial court.
The regular what?
So
Trial?
if you
Trial
get a
court,
speeding
it's
ticket,
called. Like the first place you go in court
if
is
you get a
called the
speeding ticket in
trial court.
DC, you just go to the Supreme Court because it's already there. So
Here's a
No.
question. Can anybody just bring something there? Anybody?
No.
Like,
To the Supreme Court?
yeah. Like if I was like, I'm suing Matt for just being a
No,
You know,
that would start at the local
can I
level
bring it to the
first.
Supreme Court?
So
Yeah. You go to Judge Judy first.
it depends. So there's a thing called
Mm-hmm.
original jurisdiction, which means that the Supreme Court is actually the first court you go to in certain situations, but it's incredibly rare. So typically you're going to start at a district court, a federal district court, and then you'll go up to a Circuit Court of Appeals, and then from there you'll go to the Supreme Court. Or you can also go to the Supreme Court sometimes when it's a state versus an individual. And if the state court system hasn't gotten the person, or like if you if you go through like the whole state thing, and like, so the cheerleader case is an example.
What's the cheerleader
well, no,
case?
did that
Well,
start?
Jen
That might
watched
have
the
started in
podcast,
federal
Jen.
court, actually.
I mean,
I don't
yeah,
think she did.
I did.
But I don't think it is
I was in the
actually an
McDonald's
example. I think
drive-thru when that
the
part came up.
cheerleader
I remember
case may
exactly
have
where I
started in
was.
federal court.
Oh.
Okay, what's your point? How about the bong hits for Jesus? Did that go to Supreme Court?
2002, students at a high school in Alaska were allowed to leave class to go watch the Olympic torch pass their school on torch relay. It was for the 2002 Winter Olympics. One of the guys went across the street and held up a sign as television cameras watched it pass that said "Bong hits for Jesus." The school principal went over there, took it down, and the student got suspended from school. They argued that it was their First Amendment rights that you're being violated, but the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the school, saying just because when you're under school supervision, you have certain rights that don't count for school speech. They were saying, well, we're off school grounds, but
but you're under. I liked it.
It did.
Yeah.
But okay.
Yeah, that went to the Supreme Court, and that's where they were like, so the kid, like they decided that the school could discipline the student because it was an official school activity, even though it wasn't on campus. But then, like, with the other case with the cheerleader, the Supreme Court was like, no, it actually has to be a school activity. You can't just discipline anyone at any time outside.
As a youth minister now, I wish they did
think
crack down on that stuff, because the things kids post in their free time.
I don't think you really want the government getting that far.
That's true. They might shut this down.
Parents need to do anyway.
You can read the brief that I posted in the notes that I contributed to. Because it's about the cheerleader case. We sent a brief in to the Supreme Court.
I'm not gonna make it to that.
Jen, you're killing me.
It's a very short one. You want me to watch your Folkland?
Exactly.
Yeah, you should have
For
already
4
done
hours.
that. You wanted to be
I
on
watched
the
about-
podcast.
Did you read her?
I watched about 20 minutes.
Oh,
You read for 20
Get out.
minutes, and
Get
then
out.
we'll talk.
That's
Okay.
fair.
Deal, Sarah.
That's fair.
Okay. I already did my side.
This is you only watched 20 minutes. You didn't do your side.
Yeah.
I'll read.
You watched. I watched 20
for
minutes.
an
you
hour
watched,
and a
you
half.
read 20 minutes.
I'll read for an hour and a half.
You won't need to though. It'll only take 20 minutes.
You
That's
don't
the
know
point.
how
My
fast
thing is
None of
I
this
read,
is
Sarah,
relevant.
so there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's just to say that the cheerleader case, like, there are other ways you can address the kind of behavior she had outside of the school having authority. So
Like
we don't.
spankings.
Well, no, like
She's
if there's
like a
actual
teenager.
real threats, you know.
I think we need to discuss spanking teenagers
won't
on
work.
here, but if you want to bring it up, well, weird.
I think people forget that the public schools are our government, and like we do not really want our government having that much in our lives.
So Sarah, here's the question about Supreme Court. Does it only go to Supreme Court when it affects
The Constitution?
because it's federal, when it affects like people, like it would be like, oh, this I don't know how to explain it. Like this would change things for everybody moving forward kind of thing.
So actually, a lot of times, like the Supreme Court cases that we know about are ones that affect everyone broadly, and that's why they become so popular, because like they end up getting applied to like everyone. But there are cases where the Supreme Court has actually intentionally, in their opinion, they will say, we are not making a ruling that can be applied generally. This is a specific ruling for this specific case, and we are not taking a position on this broader issue. So I don't really know how they decide what they're going to do on that. Like, do you guys know I don't want to get too controversial on this, but there's like the cake baker in Colorado.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, so like with that particular case, a lot of people wanted the Supreme Court to make a strong decision as to whether or not this cake baker had the right to deny making a custom cake for a gay wedding
And that went
reception.
federal,
Uh-huh.
or that went Supreme
And
Court.
that was one where it started in state and then it went up, and then he appealed to the Supreme Court because it was the state against the individual.
Oh, it was.
Anyway, that case, if you like read the opinion, you can't really like it didn't really make any kind of statement about that general question. It basically was just like, well, they have to consider his religious belief, and in this particular case, they didn't really consider whether or not he had a religious belief, so we're sending it back, and they have to actually consider his religion. So they didn't make the decision as to whether or not religion and religious belief gives him the right to
Gotcha.
not create a custom cake for an event that he doesn't want to be associated with. And so basically this case got all this press, and like it got up there, and then like there's really nothing from that you can
Gotcha. Yeah.
To answer that question about how far religious liberties extend, and freedom of association and stuff like that.
Sarah, I think you're too smart for this podcast.
No.
I just wanted to bring up Joe versus parking lot or traffic light,
Oh, there was the one though about the guy in the garage.
The DUI, yeah.
I don't. Oh, gosh, I wish I would have known that back when I was like 18. That would have been useful then to know how to get out of the DUI thing, but not now. I don't need it.
There was a comment in the Facebook group from a police officer about that. He's like, Bates is wrong, but Bates is not wrong. Bates is actually
naturally
suck it
on it.
Cop.
Yeah. Yeah, which is actually kind of scary if you think about it, that police officers don't always know what they're allowed to do or not.
Well, hey, Sarah, neither do I, so I feel for them.
Yeah, but again, they're like our government, and they are either infringing on our rights or not. So
that's good.
Well,
I don't have that much pressure.
According
All right, let's get to the real meat of this: the impersonation Aaron did of Stanley.
Yeah.
That's what I want to
That's
talk
what
about.
I watched this thing twice, and I think I missed it both times. What? Explain it. Yeah,
What?
I don't know.
Let's play the clip then in this area. But good night. How'd you miss that? That was the funniest thing of the whole podcast.
I don't know. What's the timestamp on it?
It's towards the end.
pretty
Somewhere
late.
towards the end. I do have a screen recording of it, but there's a text.
Oh, it's like an hour and 52.
Okay.
Hour and 52 is the.
Oh my gosh, hilarious when Aaron says it, and Nate's face afterwards is like pure.
And she wouldn't make it. Or something's very funny.
Then Stanley's like, "Why would you say it like that?"
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
We got a guy doing impressions. Episode 90. You finally show up. You got a little. You're gonna add a little flavor to the podcast. Good night. Who doesn't?
You could have done that all along.
The whole time you've been doing impressions.
I didn't think it was that good. I didn't know.
I mean, just the fact that you put the effort in. It's like the first time I realized you were even here. I mean, just sitting on that, they got Michael Winslow doing a pod, and you're just there and.
Okay,
like,
so
amazement. He's like, what?
So
You've been holding
let me
back.
pose this question then. What celebrity could you best impersonate?
Oh, you would never guess mine in a million years.
You would.
Really? A million years?
I'm going to say Johnny Carson for you.
No,
guess it.
I don't even know what he sounds like.
I can do a really good impression of John Mulaney impersonating Mick Jagger.
You can impress someone's impersonation. You can impersonate an impersonator.
Exactly.
Let's hear it, Sarah.
Not funny.
I'm sorry, was that an insult to me or was that your impersonation?
Yes.
You take that however you think
it
best.
was both. Well, clearly Matt has checked
I'm
out.
trying to find the
so,
clip.
Yeah, he's all like on his phone.
Matt, who
You don't do that right
No, I
now.
was just getting queued up.
People are watching
Yeah, y'all are
this.
Matt, what
talking,
celebrity could you best impersonate?
Hey, let me speaking. Oh yeah, do that, and then I want to say something. Speaking of
Go ahead
cell
on your
phones.
cell phone thing. I couldn't impersonate.
Sarah,
Okay.
is it interesting? Let's just.
Following Michael
Yes,
Scott.
and it's also relevant. It has to do with illegal searches and the Fifth Amendment. So 2 amendments, 4th and 5th. Okay, so here is my lock screen.
Oh, nice.
Okay, can you see that? I do not consent to the search of this device.
I mean, I have like a
Here's the thing.
a
Here's the
warm
thing.
and fuzzy quote, but Sarah's like,
If no,
I know
I'm
my
not giving any
rights.
legal advice. I'm not giving legal advice. I'm just telling you what I do. And what I do is I don't have my fingerprint as my lock, my unlock, because courts have not, like the Supreme Court hasn't ruled yet as to whether or not the police can make you unlock your phone with your fingerprint, if that's a way that
What
you
about your
unlock your phone.
face? I unlock it with my
But
face.
probably the same, but like with biometrics generally. But lower courts, like appeals courts and state courts, have said yes, the police can make you use your fingerprint or biometrics, but they cannot make you put your code in, because a code is you giving coerced information. If they make you give your code, they're coercing testimony. But your face and your fingerprints aren't considered to be testimony.
It's good.
So,
Pro tip, Sarah. I got a pro
do with
tip.
that what you will. I'm not advising you in any way.
I will
I'm just
give
saying
advice. If you put your
you
sunglasses
can do that.
on, and then it can't recognize your face, they can't make you open it. So you're like, sorry, boys. Can't lose the shades. Got eye problems.
That's cute.
Is that adorable?
But you can't bring that up into an appeals court if you get convicted for a wrongful search.
Okay.
Sarah, I
was just trying not to get searched or do anything illegally.
I was gonna say, hey, you invited me, but then I remembered that I
did
myself.
invite you. Actually, I wouldn't have picked this, but
We needed somebody.
Do you want to try to? Do you want to hear my impersonation?
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes.
All right. Guys, I can't. I don't know if I can.
You're a professional Disney princess.
My impersonation.
Yeah.
It's not of a Disney princess. In fact, it's really the opposite of that.
Ursula.
It's Matt.
It is.
Sorry.
It is. Am I gonna get his name wrong? Hold on. All right. It's Louis Armstrong.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'm excited for this now.
Okay.
Let's go.
Are you gonna sing "What a Wonderful World"?
What a wonderful world.
Not
That's
bad.
pretty
Not
good.
bad.
I'll be here all week.
Pennies from Heaven's
Sarah,
on next.
thank you.
That was good. Yeah.
I liked it. Honestly.
I could do it.
Very impressed.
I can do it better. But I was about to
Jen,
laugh. So
I could tell that you can do it better because of that exact reason.
Couldn't have done it any
because
worse.
of that exact reason.
It was abysmal.
But okay, so here's the so Jen and I just did impressions of men. So I want to hear the guys' impressions of a female celebrity. What's the best female celebrity you can do?
I could probably do a good John Christ.
Me, Matt.
No, he said
she
celebrity.
He's not a woman.
But, you know,
he's not a woman.
I mean, come on, you've seen his videos.
No, Matt, I think you should impersonate me. I think that's what would really give the people what they want.
I'm sorry. I just checked out. I don't know what you've been talking about. So it's all about me.
Girl.
I don't care about you.
Peasants.
Oh, now you're a Southern Valley girl.
That's
oh my
the best
God.
I got. I didn't get the voice.
Here's
but I got the
my
content
impersonation
correctly.
of Matt. Are you ready? Are you ready?
That's.
Are we on a podcast? I was messaging you on Messenger at the same time. Good night. All right, this is over. I think, guys. We've peaked. It's
we
done.
didn't hear Cads.
Oh yeah,
but I
let's
guess
hear
that's okay.
Cad's impersonation.
What you got,
Since
Cad?
I was a young child, I've been referred to as like a Jack Black type character.
Oh
but
yeah.
I just say his quotes. I don't even really
that.
like have. I don't know if I even sound like him.
Do Nacho Libre. Do Nacho Libre.
Get that out of my face.
Sometimes a man
Do
just
something
needs
from
to wear.
School of Rock.
These are the Lord's sheep.
I love
I
it.
missed it. I was talking.
Yes.
Anyway,
I knew you would know it because
it's
you're
my
a youth
least
pastor.
favorite
I knew
Jack
it.
Black movie.
Called it.
I'm a
Yeah,
huge
I
School of
only
Rock
saw it
fan,
once.
though.
It's
I
not
love
great.
School of Rock.
School Rock's good.
Do something from School of Rock because that's actually the
Oh,
only one
man.
that I think I've
I
seen.
feel like I quote it all the time, but I'm just like,
But can't think of
he's
it.
like, man,
That's how it
When the
goes.
pressure's on.
hey, I just wanted to apologize. Showing up with these kids. They're from St. Mary Joseph Juniper's Hospital down the street, and they're all terminal. They have a stigmatomyosis, and it's terminal.
He's doing a whole
I
monologue
love
here,
that
man.
movie. I love that movie.
Nacho
Stupid
Libre was
phrase.
better. Nacho Libre was
There's a bunch
better.
of one-liners, peasant stuff. Anyway,
Yeah.
I can't think of a girl,
It's a bunch
Sorry.
of one-liners, so he
a
picks the
female
monologue.
impersonation. I
Sorry,
can't-
it's not
can't
germane
think of
enough
one.
for you, Chad. Well, that says something about you. So, all right, folks. I think this has been a train wreck. Thanks
Yeah.
if you made it this far into the video. We're going to cut it off now because we are probably 10 minutes shorter than we were last
we
time.
just
Sriracha, thanks for
And
joining
that's
us.
progress.
Thanks for joining us, Sarah.
Yeah, thanks. First guest
Hey,
on
yeah,
Folkland.
thank you for letting me.
You're the first
What's
guest
up?
on Folkland.
Yeah, I didn't
I
even
like-
get to answer your guest questions, but
That was
you know,
like,
fine.
what's that? What's
She
that?
said she didn't get to answer your questions.
No, I was making a
Yeah,
No, she was-
joke.
and then I was
she
also
was
making a joke.
impersonating
So
me.
that's how it works.
Oh man, God, sorry. I'm just so used to him not being funny. All right, folks, let's go.
Let's go, folks.
Bye, folks.
All right. Good night.